A Twist in the Tale by Duncan, Whitehead. As I stretch and yawn, my leg accidentally brushes hers. It wakes her, and she stares at me and gives me one of those smiles. I smile back. It's early. I check the radio alarm clock on my side of the bed. 8. She leans over and kisses my forehead. She gets out of bed, goes and makes me breakfast. Then she exercises whilst I snooze. I have to be the luckiest boy in the world. I first spotted her about 3 weeks ago. What attracted me to her immediately were her legs, long and sleek. She was an elegant woman, someone a guy like me needs to be seen with. It was obvious from her neighbourhood that she was wealthy, and her clothes and jewellery merely confirmed the fact. I decided that this was the woman I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. Getting her attention would be the hardest thing. There's a lot of competition out there, and unless you have the right look and attitude, you can just forget about it. She walked fast, and it was a struggle just to keep up with her. I would sometimes lose her in crowds, but after a while I memorized her movements. Mondays would always mean a visit to the bank. She spent 15 minutes there doing what, I don't know. I felt it slightly inappropriate for me to ever enter the bank. I definitely had no business there. After the bank, she would meet up with friends. I didn't know their names, but from a distance I would try and lip-read the conversation. Wednesdays were the hardest day for me. She would drive out of town and return Fridays. Later on I would find out that was all work, but in those early days I was worried that maybe there was another man in her life. She first noticed me on a Saturday. I deliberately brushed past her, and immediately she looked my way. It had been a gamble. It could have gone either way. Luckily, she didn't take offence. In fact, she smiled. And it was then that I knew she liked me. I made a point of continually running into her. She would obviously presume we were neighbours. It became a game. I knew that she was looking for me. Sometimes I would wait a while around a corner and watch her as she looked for me. Then I would nonchalantly walk around the corner and she would smile. As the second week of our flirtation came to a close, I decided I had to move fast. I wasn't happy at home. Things just weren't working out. The kids especially were getting on my nerves. It was the clutter, mainly toys and books as well as the noise. Things between Emma and I had really come to a head. We rarely spoke anymore, and a guy like me needs a lot of attention. I felt she was becoming irritated with me. She would give me a dirty look whenever she came into the room. I felt the kids were more important than me. Funny how things change. That's when I stopped coming home at night. I would just get up out of my chair at 11 and leave. Sometimes I would not get back until late morning. I knew this annoyed her, but what the hell? She didn't own me. Anyway, I digress. I had bigger fish to fry now. What I had to do was grab her attention. I couldn't make it obvious, so I took the biggest gamble of my life. It was a dangerous move. Some would say foolhardy. Some just downright crazy. I knew she drove her car on Wednesday. I knew the exact time and exact speed she would go. It was a risk, but I never lost consciousness, but I do recall drifting in and out of a dreamlike trance. She hadn't been driving fast, and she heard me cry out, but I still ended up badly bruised. She got out of the car very quickly and was very apologetic. I obviously milked it for a while. She, of course, invited me up for a drink and to relax a little, and I think it was here that she fell in love with me. That was 3 weeks ago, and here I am, lying on silk sheets, a beautiful rich woman at my beck and call. What a life! I finished my breakfast and looked up as she shouted goodbye. It was Monday, so she was going to the bank. I would just lie in for the rest of the morning. I smiled, stretched, and then purred to myself. I looked back and noticed that I had a twist in my tail. The end.